Yo, welcome back to the house where we talk news, celebrities, and hot topics. Y'all, I would say good evening, but ain't nothing good about this evening. Ain't nothing good about this evening. I have gone through an emotional roller coaster since last night. Well, really, the last year and a half. Listen, I've never had faith in the American people. I've never had faith in this country. Well, I did when I was like unknowledgeable, and then I got a college degree, and then I actually started experiencing life, and then I actually started seeing what this country was about. Circa maybe 2014, 15, and then in 16, my heart was totally ripped out of my chest when the people of these United States decided to vote in a reality TV star who colors himself orange every morning. A very despicable situation. And then y'all saw what he did while he was in office, twice impeached. January 6th, Ukraine quo, prid quo, however the hell you say it. Okay. The ingesting of the bleach. Okay. I mean, y'all, I go through this every single video. He did not take COVID seriously. Joe Biden warned the American people all the way back in late 2019, before he ran for president, warned the people, or maybe he was running in the primary, I'm not sure. Warned the American people about COVID before the president of these United States did. He did a whole op-ed, and I think the New York Times, something like that. Look it up. Look it up. Look it up. He fumbled. He fumbled. He fumbled. He fumbled. He fumbled. Okay. He was granted Obama's economy. Gave Biden COVID economy. Now in 2024, he's going to be granted Joe Biden's economy. And let's see what he does in another 4 years. Listen, I'm not here to go back down that rabbit hole and give you guys that history lesson. It is what it is at this particular point in time. Listen, just know that I've known since 2016 that this country isn't shit. Listen, I even told y'all that I don't have faith in this country 3 months ago when Joe Biden dropped out of this race, okay? And listen, let me just say this and let me just get this out the way. There are a multitude of reasons as to why Kamala Harris lost and Donald Trump won. It is not one singular reason. So let me just preface that. Could Joe Biden had never ran for re-election? Yes. Could we have had a primary without Joe Biden being a part of it? Sure. That way the person that ended up becoming the nominee could have had more time to introduce themselves to the American people, et cetera, et cetera. I see a lot of people blaming Democrats because they feel like Democrats don't speak to the working class anymore, and Democrats don't talk about the bread and butter issues. And as I wholeheartedly disagree with that, because I actually listen to Democrats and what they have to say, if that's how the people feel, then that's how the people feel. I've heard Charlemagne on the radio say that it's not, because of misogyny or solely because of misogyny and racism, is that people felt safer. People felt better off. People felt like they were safer and more secure under President Trump. There are a lot of reasons as to why last night panned out the way last night panned out. But I do feel like the missing component that people are afraid to talk about and they're afraid to stick their neck out on the line and talk about is the fact that this country is racist and this country is misogynistic, and there's nothing that anyone can say to change my mind. You had, what was it? Hillary Clinton, 60 million something odd votes. Biden, 80 something odd votes. Harris, 60 something odd votes. Huh? Now, I know I'm oversimplifying the situation, but I mean, it's just basic. The last 3 Democrats to run for president, one got 20 million extra votes. How did that happen? Well, what was the difference? What was the difference between Harris, Hillary Clinton, and Joe Biden? What was the difference? 2 main differences, okay? We could say COVID, okay, COVID. We were in a very dire situation, okay? But then the other obvious difference is the fact that Joe Biden is a white man. Okay. In 2016, when we didn't elect the only person that was qualified for the job that was running, when we did not elect the only serious candidate, I knew right then and there that We would probably need a white man to combat the crazy that is Trump. I knew that in 2016 when Hillary Clinton lost, and I knew it 3 months ago. Okay, so let me give y'all my rationale. Okay, stick with me. Stick with me. When Joe Biden dropped out of the race, I felt like, although I like Kamala Harris, I love Kamala Harris, although I feel like she would make an amazing president, I do not feel like we have enough time to convince the American people who let Donald Trump be, back in office or in office initially in 2016. I do not feel like we have the time to convince this America that this black woman, not only is she a woman, but she is a black woman. She is an Asian woman. I do not feel like, and she's also tied to the administration that is extremely unpopular. That would be the Biden administration, right? In the White House. I just did not feel like, with so many odds stacked against the Democrats already at that particular point in time, that we would have enough time to not only get people comfortable with voting for a Democrat, period, but voting for a Democrat woman and a woman of color, okay? But then 100,000 women were on a Zoom call and they raised millions of dollars. And then she started using Beyonce's Freedom. And then gays for Kamalas and Republicans for Kamalas. And then the Liz Cheneys came on board. And then before you know it, she had Governor Walz and he was super popular. And then she had raised $1 billion before you know it. And she had built this coalition. And then she was starting to match, Trump in the polls. If you can remember, basically the whole primary, or, right before the nominations, before Biden dropped out, Biden was trailing in all the polls, and all of a sudden Kamala gets announced, as the presumptive nominee, and she's matching Trump in the polls, and everybody was like, oh my God, Trump spent, days and days and days trashing Joe Biden at the RNC, all for Joe Biden not to end up becoming the nominee. It's genius. And there was so much motivation for people to go to the polls now, and people felt like momentum was on our side. And I was like, okay, well, I'm watching all of this happen, and I'm like, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong about this country. Maybe I was wrong about the American people. For a second, I thought maybe I'm wrong. Like, maybe she has a chance. And to be honest, I never, ever, ever felt like Kamala Harris was going to win. I did not know if she was going to lose, but it was never for sure that she was going to win, right? But for a split second, it was like her campaign was off to a flawless start, and it ended flawlessly as well. Well, I really shouldn't say flawless, but I mean, for the time that Kamala Harris had, and for her being a black woman, and for her being tied to an unpopular current White House administration, I think she did one hell of a job, right? And so all of her successes for the what was it? The 107 days that she was running, a small part of me was like, maybe I was wrong. Maybe the scale will tip in her favor. Maybe this country will elect a black woman Democrat. Okay? This is what I said 3 months ago. Hold on. Now that Joe Biden is no longer running for president in 2024, Kamala Harris. I will support Kamala Harris. I will vote for Kamala Harris. I love Kamala Harris. I think she's great. However, with 3 months out, and this being such a crucial election, I don't think the Democrats, we don't have time to convince the people that they should vote for a black, colored, Asian, black woman. I don't think we have time to convince this racist country to vote for her. I don't. 3 months out, I don't. I truly don't. This country did not want a white woman to be president. Hillary Clinton was so experienced, Secretary of State, Senator, First lady, all the experience in the world, so intelligent, had so many great ideas. Such a talented woman. She was white, so she had that privilege. They didn't want her. Why? I don't know. Maybe it was the emails. I don't know what it was. Today. But y'all didn't want her. I voted for her, but y'all didn't want her. 3 months out from the election, I don't think the Democrats have time to convince the world that they need to vote for a black, Asian, colored, non-white woman. I don't think we have the time. And maybe I'm being a pessimist. Maybe I should have more hope. Maybe I should think better of the American people. But half of this country supports a racist that my faith in the American people is slim to none. And I think I was spot on. That was the first and last video I ever said that. Because she started raising all of this money and all of a sudden Democrats were like energized. No Democrat was really energized or happy to vote for Joe Biden. Most of us were just going to vote for Joe Biden just because we hate Trump. You know what I mean? But the momentum started being on her side and the energy was high. And I was like, oh. So I never said that again. 3 months ago, I never said that again. I'm like, maybe I'm wrong. And now in today's time, I believe I was right. Now, again, let me reiterate this. I think it was multiple reasons as to why Donald Trump will be back in office in January. Multiple reasons. But I am correct in thinking that her being a black woman is a big chunk of why we are where we are today. There's a young gentleman, radio personality by the name of what's his name? Victor Martinez, Latino radio host. And for a while, he spoke to many Latino men. Okay, because if you look at the numbers, Google, do your own research, become knowledgeable, educate yourselves on what actually happened last night. As far as race is concerned, if you look at the presidential race through the lens of race, you can see that black people, men and women, because everybody was afraid of the black men. Where are the black men going? Where the black man did what the black man needed to do. And of course, black women, thank you. Y'all stood 10 toes down. The most loyal racial bloc in political history. Thank you. But let's just focus on Latino men for a second. Latino men spoke to Victor Martinez, I believe his name is, and they flat out said, we are not voting for Kamala Harris because she is a woman. Women do not belong in those positions of power. And then Nicole Wallace, who used to work for Bush, I believe, and I believe she was on John McCain's campaign back in 2008. She asked the radio personality, she goes, well, what can Democrats do to get Latino men to vote for them? What can the Democrats do to get Latino men to vote for them? Mr. Victor said, well, they voted for Joe Biden. So what's the difference between 2020 and 2024? He said Latino men are not going to go for it. Watch it for yourself.
Trump's Madison. You were so important to our understanding of this sort of 11th hour gaffe at Donald Trump's Madison Square Garden rally, where a comedian described Puerto Rico as trash in the middle of the ocean. And I know you heard a lot of feedback, but I wonder where you place sort of the timing of that and the impact in the final tally in Pennsylvania and across the country.
Well, I can tell you that, for example, right where I'm at in Allentown, Pennsylvania, where the majority of the Puerto Rican community lived, it had an impact. I mean, Allentown voted for, or the Puerto Ricans in Allentown voted for Kamala Harris. And so in that sense, I could say that it had an impact. And in the state as a whole, with the Puerto Rican community, unfortunately, that wasn't enough. As far as the Latino vote in general, it was the Latino man. It was the Latino man who decided that they were going to vote for Donald Trump. And I will dare to say that it's the Latino man who wouldn't want a woman president. I mean, you and I had this discussion before, and I have audios from Latino men who were calling my show telling me that
He has audio of the man calling his show. He's a Latino man. He would not throw his people under the bus for no reason if it wasn't true.
they wouldn't vote for her just because she was a woman. And that is unfortunately, but that's part of the Latino culture, right? Where the Latino, the
It's a part of the Latino culture.
man is the one, the provider, and we're the boss. And we still unfortunately have a lot of Latinos
It's really a part of all cultures. Well, most cultures, but unfortunately.
with that mentality where the woman belongs in the kitchen. That is a reality of the Latino male chauvinist culture. And I think that's exactly what happened.
Victor, how do you get them back if you're part of the Democratic Pro-Democracy Coalition?
This is the most important part.
I mean, again, they were willing to vote for Joe Biden.
And the way he said it had nothing to do with policy. Nothing. He did not bring up policy at all. How do you bring Latino men back to the Democratic Party? Not you need policies that resonate with them, this, that, and the third. Nothing to do with the economy, nothing to do with the border, nothing to do with saving democracy, nothing to do with abortion. This man's response was, well, they voted for Joe Biden. So how do you bring a Latino man to vote for Democrats? You put up a white man? Because what man, no matter what race, doesn't like proximity to whiteness?
They were just not willing to vote for Kamala Harris. So I will say, listen, the Democratic Party needs to make sure that they regroup, that they look for somebody young, vibrant, that can make the case just like Joe Biden did. But unfortunately, as far as this Latino man's, I don't think at any time in the future they will vote for a female president. That's sad to say. I'm a Latino man. I supported Kamala Harris, but I can tell you, I heard it. I brought that to your attention. I brought you audios of men calling my show and telling me, oh, no, she won't be respected. Oh, no, there's no way she can handle the job. And I will argue with them on the air, and I will bring examples of other female powerful leaders in the world, and they seem not to want to hear it.
So yeah, that along with, and if it's, like that with Latino men, I mean, how many other people feel the same way? And, of course there are other reasons why she lost the election. Like I said before, Charlamagne the God went on in the radio and said that, Republicans or Donald Trump speaks to people's grievances and their issues and the working class. And I know there's been a lot of dogpiling on the Democratic Party as a whole. Which I think a lot of it, I don't necessarily agree with a lot of it. When I listened to Kamala Harris, she did talk about bread and butter issues. She did talk about home ownership. She did talk about, cutting taxes for the middle class. She did talk about giving small business owners opportunities. She did talk about these things. I mean, she mentioned it over and over and over again. People want to solely characterize her campaign with the topic of abortion, and I just don't think that that's fair. And if you do that, then I don't know, it's just disingenuous. And yeah, I could go on and on and on, but I just really wanted to bring that to y'all's attention. So it is what it is. That's all I wanted to say. Listen, this country will get what it deserves. I remember the 4 years under Trump, and y'all will soon too. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to create a great day.